Hey guys, Matt Hughes here, and I am at Thor. Thor Impulse has a really cool product, and Marissa's going to do a demonstration. You guys know I love induction cooktops, promoting this as an amazing technology. You guys have one-upped everybody else.
It's going to blow your mind.
So not only do you have like the induction cooktops, it looks kind of cool. I wanted to bring some like records and like it looks like a little DJ station.
DJ booth a lot.
Yeah, you
like
get that. I'm sure I'm the first person that said that. But you guys also have like the battery backup system. So
yeah.
Explain like the sustainability and also just like how does that work for resilience in the house?
Yeah, so the Impulse cooktop, it's got a 3 kilowatt hour battery integrated into the cooktop.
Wow.
And that helps us do a couple of things. One, it means you can plug it directly into the wall. If you look at other induction stoves, it's going to take 30 to 60 amps off your panel. That's crazy. This is going to be 8 to 12. Depending on whether you plug it in or you hardwire it at 240.
Got it. So the whole system is only like
8 to 12 amps.
So I can use like basically a 20 amp circuit, which is like a normal circuit.
Exactly. So if you're retrofitting or replacing an electric radiant, or if you're replacing gas and you don't have the 240 hookup, you can plug it directly.
That's pretty amazing because like we had to do a replacement in our house. Luckily, there happened to be a wire down there. It kind of worked. It's kind of sketchy, but like that's good to know for like the retrofit application. So
yes.
But okay, the power goes out.
You're still cooking.
Yeah.
So the true vision is to have multiple appliances in the home with batteries integrated. So the battery in here is about 1/4 of a power wall.
Got it.
You can cook about, we say 3 meals. That is very conservative. It really depends how much you're cooking. And that's about enough power to keep your fridge going for a day.
Okay.
So imagine you have multiple appliances with batteries and the power goes out. Your whole house is now energy resilient. You can still run the dishwasher, you can still run the fridge, etc. It's all connected to the batteries.
Now, are you trying to have the batteries attached to each individual appliance, or does this battery run the fridge?
We want to sneak them into your appliances.
Okay, got it.
So everybody has to replace their appliances every decade or so.
That's pretty cool.
Not everybody has the means or the time to actually do a full install of like a battery in the wall. So this is kind of our solution to that. But in the process, we made the most powerful induction stove on the market.
Oh, I know. We're talking about everything. Like, so one last thing about the batteries, and we're going to boil some water here. So with the refrigerator, does that have the battery in it now?
So that's part of the reason why we're here partnering with Thor. So Impulse, we're our own independent company. We're a small startup. And this is our first product. We're partnering with major manufacturers to help get this technology into more appliances.
Oh, cool.
So we say it's a first-party product, meaning we did all the power electronics inside. We designed the knobs, the screens, the sensors, everything. And that is why we're able to do it so differently than other companies because everything's in-house.
Cool. All right. So without further ado, we're gonna boil some water.
Yeah.
And just for reference, a typical pot like this on a gas range is going to take like 6 to 7 minutes.
Yes, 6 to 7 minutes. On the next best induction stove, it's going to take 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Our stove, it's less than 40 seconds, between 30 and 40 seconds.
That's crazy.
10 kilowatts
I don't
of power.
believe you. All right.
You'll walk around this trade show, you'll see a lot of different induction stoves. They'll say, oh, this is the most powerful stove, and it'll be
it's on now.
4 kilowatts. This is 10. So cold water.
All right, start.
It is on 10. You'll see pretty immediately we got some bubbles going. You got that nice little sound. And within 30 seconds, it's going to be a rolling boil.
Wow.
So I'll give it a minute to start cooking, but the best part is, say this is your Sunday sauce. You're heating it up, you're bringing it to a boil, and then you're ready to simmer for the rest of the day. So we're letting it heat up. You can come over here and actually see we're at 203 degrees and watching it rise. So it's telling you in real time what you're at. So we've got a nice boil. It's time to bring it down to a simmer. You can actually switch it over to the temperature and set it to simmer. So now it's at 222.
So can you set the temperature?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I can have total control. If I turn it up, you'll see this light ring gets red. It's being corresponding to the temperature I'm setting it at. So a little more visual than the flat top. But say I set it to a simmer at 225, it's gonna stay right there all day.
Wow.
If you add something to it and it gets cooler, it'll know, and it will bring it back up to 225. So once you set your sauce, no matter what you do to the pot all day, it's going to stay at 225.
Okay.
Yeah, so you'll never burn anything.
So how does it heat up so quickly?
It heats up so quickly because of the battery
Got
inside.
it.
So 10 kilowatts of power is, we say it's around 75,000 BTUs.
Yeah.
This thing has the power of like a commercial furnace.
So
It's
just super
really
boosted. Wow.
Super boosted.
Wow.
And it does it without draining your wall energy because it's trickle charging the battery all day.
Wow.
So kind of like electric cars, how some of them can go like 0 to 80 really fast. Same thing, you're just boosting all of that power out through the battery. You can put a steak in here at 140 degrees for 20 minutes, flip it, another 20 minutes, reverse sear, and you will have a perfectly cooked steak every time.
Well, guys, okay, I was arguing with a client last week. I'm not going to name any names. And they're like, Matt, we cannot go to induction because gas boils faster. And I was like, you know what? You can boil 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes. The way we've tested different tops.
Yeah.
All right, this one does it in 40 seconds. So if you don't have an excuse now
No.
to switch back to induction. And also, like, the other thing is, people say like their food tastes different with induction.
They do.
I'm
It's
like,
not true.
I'm like, why does it taste?
It's
I mean,
not true.
perhaps with a microwave, but this is not a microwave.
You know, I think it's because a lot of induction and electric gradient over the years has been really bad because we just there hasn't been enough innovation in the space. But now today, induction stoves are so easily controlled. You'll see even at the rest of the stuff at Thor, you have really good control and you can do really high heat. And people might not have it be as intuitive because they're used to seeing the fire. But once you cook on it a few times, you start to pick it up and you're like, you can't go back.
I've had lots of chefs say, like, no, it's great. And they even said they prefer induction to gas. I honestly think the reason they said that is like they're not used to induction. They turned it on, immediately started cooking their food. They probably like walked the dog. They came back, it was burned. It was like, of course it's going to taste a little bit different because you don't have to wait 6 minutes for the pot to like warm up a little bit. So
yeah, and because you can set the temperature, you can walk away and it's not going to burn. So if you put an egg in here for 10 minutes, but it's never going over the temperature you set it at, it's not going to burn the bottom.
Yep.
It's just going to stay perfectly running.
Guys, when we say go all electric, of course we're trying to do good things for the environment, but I would never tell any of our clients to do anything or put the information out there where going all electric or going with electric item and it's inferior. And in every case, whether it's HVAC, cooking, water heating, electric is better in all instances. Where 15 years ago, if you said someone to use like just like an infrared cooktop, they still sell those for some reason. I'm not sure why they, I think those are about to come off the market because induction's so popular. But yeah, definitely avoid electric induction. Avoid infrared cooktops.
Yes.
Go with induction cooktops. It's much better. And they're not the same
cleaner.
thing. Stop confusing them.
Yes, they're not the same thing. This is way cleaner, way faster. And with these two, all the knobs are removable. You can clean it easily, you control everything easily, and it's not going to take up your whole panel.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's still going to be warm, but
it's warm.
It is induction, so it cools down much more quickly.
But you're not heating the surface of this.
Correct.
This is actually, the surface of this is warm because the pot transferred the heat down instead of this transferring the heat up. So I'm putting my hand on here. It's warm. It's not pleasant to keep on there too long, but my skin is still intact. I don't have a 3rd-degree burn. So with infrared or gas, you definitely don't want to touch that afterwards.
Yeah.
From a safety point of view, that's very important because like you cook, kids come up over, or a lot of times when people want to put these in islands or peninsulas, you're cooking in front of everybody, they're doing homework, kind of gets a little bit too close.
Yeah.
The dog didn't eat it, but mom burnt my homework. So great ways to have good things for safety.
It actually keeps your kitchen a little cooler as well because you're only heating up the pot instead of the fire heating up the whole area. So you sweat a little bit less.
Well, that, and also like when you're dealing with the range hood, you don't need as many CFM. So if you have 600, you can probably go down to 400. Again, work through HVAC designer to make sure you've got the right CFM. With this, just want to do a quick PSA. It doesn't matter what kind of cooking surface you have, you still want to use ventilation with that because what's happening on top of this, you have the microparticulates coming off of that, the PM 2.5 getting into the air. You don't want to breathe what's coming off the pot. So cooking, you still need ventilation. even though you're going with a much safer
Yes.
cooking method.
Yes, you can keep things under the smoke point, so you're not going to smoke up your kitchen, but
Yeah.
that does not mean you shouldn't use a vent. Vents are important. It's going to keep your air even cleaner.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And where, I mean, you said you're working this into different appliances. We're at the Thor booth right now. Where can people find this? Is this just a proof of concept?
So
or?
this is actually for sale right now, direct to
Got it.
consumer. So you can go on our website, impulselabs.com, and order one. There's about a 12-week wait right
Okay.
now. And the limiting factor is that this is the only form factor we have. This is our first product. It's 30 inches. And so part of partnering with more manufacturers
Got it.
is meeting everybody's tastes and styles and still getting the
Cool.
technology in their kitchen.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you sharing this information.
Of course.
All right,
Thank you
have a
so
great
much
show.
for stopping by.
Not a problem.